Hey everybody, today's video will attempt to connect skeptics and believers to a common ground using two questions. Do ghosts feed off energy? And how safe are electromagnetic fields? EMF and EMR will be interchangeable terms for the sake of simplicity in this video, which could infuriate electrical engineers in the comment sections. The questions guiding my research for this video were as follows. Has the advancement of Wi-Fi technology increased the strength of paranormal activity for those that are experiencing it? Are EMFs not only feeding ghosts, but are they having a negative effect on humans? Which electronic devices are the most dangerous from both a skeptical and paranormal point of view? There is no scientifically accredited research that proves ghosts exist. True research facilities refuse to give any kind of ghost research a serious platform for discussion. Nevertheless, the reports of paranormal activity have increased dramatically as technology has advanced. This could be both the ability to document incidents via cell phones and monitoring equipment such as security cameras and baby monitors, and the acceptance of paranormal reporting as compared to the days of the witch hunts and the negative stereotypes that people were crazy that were claiming to experience this type of activity. Of course, it could also be due to the popularity of paranormal content and the idea that ghost hunting is big business thanks to many television shows. With the advent of Wi-Fi technology and the increase of electronics inside the typical home, EMFs have flooded our homes with a shower of radio frequencies, which most developed countries and technology corporations insist are perfectly safe. The standard rule of thumb is based on thermal impact, such as the ability to burn or heat a target subject. EMF and EMR are essentially the same in this regard. The primary risk factor pertains to whether the EMR is ionized or non-ionized. Ionized radiation is generated from hazardous sources such as nuclear radiation, X-rays, and cosmic rays. The technology in your home emits non-ionizing radiation and has no thermal effect. It is important to understand the difference between ionizing and non-ionizing, since the safety standards established by most developed Western countries only pertains to the thermal effects generated from ionizing EMF. Therefore, any precautions that they suggest for your cell phone or your Wi-Fi router are merely guidelines. They are not restrictions or official warnings. An example is the EPA guideline that a cell phone should be 20 centimeters or 7.8 inches away from your body at all times. Many neurosurgeons have started to claim that obvious connections between brain tumor locations and the direct placement of a cell phone's internal antenna against the side of your head are apparent. When asked why it is so difficult to make the connection between cell phones and brain tumors, one research facility stated it takes 10 years minimum to see brain tumor growth rate increases that are potentially affected by cellular radiation. While a typical brain tumor takes between 20 to 30 years to grow to a terminal limit. This length of time has been the problem with conclusive proof that a cell phone is solely responsible for brain tumor growth entirely. The question remains, do cell phones have any effect, increase growth rates, and/or initiate brain tumors themselves? Now, for the sake of discussion, we're going to assume that EMF is not generally good for you, and that could potentially be generating some interesting effects on the human body. There are studies that have indicated that EMFs can stimulate the feeling of something is behind you. They can also stimulate the feeling that the temperature has dropped. Now, of course, we're all aware that many paranormal investigators use temperature meters that will give them exact measurements of the environment versus EMFs influencing you as an individual. Since, for the sake of discussion, we're assuming that EMFs hold some form of potential hazard, which three devices in a typical home are the most hazardous devices? The first one would be a smart meter on the side of your home, generally installed from an electronic or utility company. What this meter does is radio broadcast your usage to their home office or to a relay station. These meters put off a tremendous amount of EMF. There are suggestions that you shouldn't sleep on the other side of one of those meters. If you have one on the outside of your house, it's important to know where exactly you sit in relation to that meter. The second would be your cell phone, which is one of the few devices you have a huge amount of control over. You may not be able to shut off the smart meter on the side of your house, but in the evenings or when not in use, you could definitely shut off your cell phone, or at the very least set it to airplane mode. And in some cases, just keep it a distance away from you when you're not using it actively. The third device would be your Wi-Fi router. Some companies insist that the Wi-Fi capability be enabled at all times. It cannot be disabled in most cases. If you have the ability to disable Wi-Fi because you don't need it, then you should do so. Another option is at night to have your Wi-Fi router hooked up to a typical timer. This can be an analog timer that plugs into the socket, plug the Wi-Fi router into that timer, and then at a certain time in the evening when you know you'll be asleep, the Wi-Fi router will be turned off. This can sometimes help people that have a Wi-Fi router that's very close to where they sleep or where they work. How you manage your exposure to these three technologies could have an impact on your body. The benefit to lowering your exposure to EMF that even a skeptic can appreciate is your consumption of electricity should go down, lowering your utility bill to some extent. Besides lowering your utility bills, there are individuals with EMF sensitivity, and they can experience low energy, headaches, sleepless nights, general fatigue, and in some cases even heart palpitations. In one study, scientists at a research lab tested the effects of a cordless phone, not a cell phone, just a traditional cordless phone. By turning it on unbeknownst to the various test subjects connected to an EKG, as soon as the phone was turned on, the subjects' heart rates increased noticeably. Medical researchers have also studied the effects of electrical fields on people's brains. Electrical stimulation to the angular gyrus of the brain, I might not have pronounced that correctly, for example, can cause the sensation of someone behind you mimicking your movements. Electrical stimulation to different parts of the brain has also caused people to hallucinate or seem to have near-death experiences. Several experiments have demonstrated that low-frequency sound waves, known as infrasound, can cause phenomenon that people typically associate with ghosts. This includes feelings of nervousness and discomfort, as well as a sense of a presence in the room. The sound waves may also vibrate the human eye, causing people to see things that are not there. Usually these waves have frequencies of less than 20 Hz, so they are too low-pitched for people to actually perceive. Rather than noticing the sound itself, people notice its effects. Sometimes paranormal researchers can locate the source of the sound. The article, The Ghost in the Machine by Vic Tandy and Tony Lawrence, describes a low-frequency standing wave originating from a fan. The sound wave disappeared after the researchers modified the fan's housing. When the wave was dissipated, so did the symptoms of the haunting in the building. So this begs the question, are ghosts real? None of these studies stated that these results explain away paranormal experiences. They do, however, indicate how EMF can induce the same effects of paranormal activity in humans. The critical lesson from a skeptic's point of view is paranormal teams need to take these factors into account and conduct investigations from a more serious, methodical approach. Gathering baseline readings in a home and the surrounding property, then setting up monitoring equipment versus chasing and hunting down random incidences as they unfold. Paranormal investigators should standardize the process while remaining flexible as the situation may dictate. Running around blindly in the dark may be far less helpful in pinpointing the nature of the activity versus an actual study of the location. The overall idea is to never assume that everything is paranormal, while at the same time understanding what may be feeding into paranormal activity, or the perception thereof. So, the million-dollar question is, do EMFs feed ghosts and paranormal activity? The answer is based on if. If ghosts are a manifestation of either spiritual or natural phenomenon, and they come into being via electrical means or manipulation of electrical fields, then it is entirely possible EMFs feed this energy. Based on that assumption, the world we live in has introduced a worldwide grid of EMF that could be dramatically increasing paranormal experiences. In some cases, the activity could be much worse due to the Earth's magnetic field or the surrounding technology such as cell phone towers, high-tension wires, or power stations. It could be influenced by the bedrock underneath the very house, the nature of the house construction. If you are a skeptic, then only two things matter in this entire discussion. Are EMFs dangerous to our health? The indicators from thousands of studies would say yes, although your local energy company and technology corporations say absolutely not. Just don't keep the cell phone too close to your head. But yeah, not because it's dangerous long term, You may get a headache, and they worry about you and your ability to spend money on their latest devices. I'm being a little sarcastic there. The last question: is there a benefit that all of us can agree upon from cutting back our exposure to EMFs? The answer is yes. You may save money on your utility bill. As far as determining how safe your home is, grab a 3-axis tri-field detector with data logger and alarm. The cheaper ones may still help you find ghosts, but they cannot help you determine what is generating dangerous EMFs in your home and your home and property baseline EMF health. Hope this has been useful. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you post them below. See you guys in the next video.